Hello again, everybody. Once again, welcome to another episode of the Super Exponential Podcast. I've done enough intros. You know who I am.
You do know who he is, but you also probably know who I am.
So, I think
I'm Troy McClure.
no, you're
From
not.
TV's. Oh, God, that joke aged me.
Oh, it did. It really did.
They're like, fuck, she's old.
Like, I'm TV's Adam West, or whatever he says. I forget what he says, but he said that in a Marvel game, one of the Marvel Lego games or whatever. Anyways, hope y'all doing well. Apologize for the long delay, but as you know, we do have stuff to do in real life, so that's why it took us so long to.
We're steady cooking things, though.
Yeah, we didn't forget. We don't, it's not like we were like, okay, we're quit. We're not going to say anything. No, we're just starting. We're going to get somewhere at some point. But just to let y'all know, we didn't quit. We didn't do nothing. We just had to take a small break to take care of stuff in real life. Actually, there should be an episode coming out shortly that I just published, so you'll be able to listen to that, as well as this one, which is going to come up. So y'all get a...
Yeah, I'm gonna rapid fire this one out. We're gonna get you a little bonus episode. So
Yeah.
for the price of waiting, you get a bonus episode.
So as you know, basically Sarah, pretty much whenever she edits, she edits it really quick. But whenever I edit, it takes me.
Okay, the ability to edit something quick only happens if it's a subject that I'm super passionate about.
I got you.
So then I can chop, quickly do it. If it's something I don't care as much about or just am casually interested in, it's not going to happen. This one I'm interested in.
Yeah. So this is you can say this is our Halloween episode for the year. So that doesn't mean we're going to do like a Thanksgiving or even a Christmas episode. So maybe not. We'll see if that's in the books. But yeah, this is our Halloween episode. And Sarah has a special subject she wants to talk to me about, which I, once again, me being the idiot that I am, know nothing about. So I'm going to let Sarah take it away.
So I was going to be a witch for Halloween this year because I've never been a witch. I'm 30 years old and I've never been a witch for Halloween, which is crazy. But now I'm also going to be a reactionary for Halloween. So you would say I am a stubborn person, but I'm pretty open to societal changes, right? Fairly? Is that fair?
I mean, it's fair. I mean, but basically, societal change is not necessarily a bad thing. It's always a good thing. It's just being able to accept it, getting out of the norms and all that.
But generally, when society and the kids are doing something new, I'm mostly open to it, right? I feel like I am.
Well, it does to the point where you're like, because we're going to be at that age where eventually we're going to be like, oh God, these kids in there doing whatever it is.
Change is bad. I was exposed to more lead than these children, therefore I'm angry.
I feel like, though, that we're a lot more adaptable to change than a lot of our previous generations. Because we are I keep forgetting the name of our generation. Millennials, yeah.
We also had less lead exposure than the generations before us.
It all comes down to lead, right?
Yeah, it apparently does.
Asbestos, lead, oh man.
I had the asbestos. I don't know about you, but it's got the name Best right in it, so it can't be that bad.
But yeah, no, change is depending on what the change is, it's not so bad,
I feel like I generally accept change pretty quick, but this is a change that I'm not accepting. Trunk or treat is killing Halloween. It's killing trick or treat. It's destroying the suburban neighborhood Halloween. Today I'm going to explain why.
I feel like I should put in there somewhere when you said trunk or treat is killing Halloween. I should put a little thunderous sound in there or something.
You should.
That should.
It should be like a Fox News segment. I want to be the Fox News anchor. America, we have a problem. Trunk or treat is destroying the suburban neighborhood dynamics.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say you were a Republican. Ha ha. Anyways.
So I feel like it probably, at first glance, yeah, this sounds like I am just resistant to change and angry. Now, you said you don't know what trunk or treat is, right?
No, because I'm going to be honest with you. Halloween in general is just something that I don't, I stopped trick-or-treating at a very, very early age, probably about maybe 8 or 9. I just never really did it anymore. It's one of those things I just grew out of really quick. I mean, even when I'm older now, if somebody's throwing like a Halloween party or whatever, I'll wear, I've had ideas to throw Halloween parties myself. I just never went through with it. And then, but other than that, outside of just a Halloween party, but just being a normal party where we just go talk and drink and all that stuff. No, I don't really do much of Halloween. So, unfortunately, I don't keep track of anything Halloween related unless it's talk about like people putting razor blades and candy or something and giving out to kids,
which is not even a thing.
I know, but it was people were, that was actually a rumor.
It's an urban legend.
Yeah, it was an urban legend from when I was young. Like, okay, I'm 34 now, and this was like, I think part of the reason why is probably like a subconscious level of fear that I'm going to get a razor blade in my
little bit.
But
and a man straight up killed one of his children with cyanide pixie sticks that he said was in their Halloween.
Well, the funny
candy.
thing is, like, you say it's an urban legend, but you would think that, based on how stuff looks like fucking candy, like, for whatever reason, a Tide Pod looks edible, that people would actually try to, hurt kids or something by doing stupid stuff.
A lot of strangers, like, just ultimately don't have that much motivation. I think one of my bigger fears handing out candy is that, how sometimes insect content gets in candy from the factory?
Oh, yeah.
I had a muffin the other day that had a tiny little bug in it, and I was like, no, I know this happens, but it's not a good feel. I'm more worried about something like that happen and the parent coming back to me being like, what did you do?
Yeah,
what did you do? And I was like, I don't know. I'm more worried about getting accused of it than someone actually doing it. And I think that does come with the fact that I don't have kids. But also, there's a few podcasts and like resources that debunk it. Adam Ruins Everything, American Hysteria, You're Wrong About. They do big debunkings on the whole Halloween thing. And the original panic started because a child died after eating a cyanide pixie stick on Halloween. Well, that made the news cycle. That was on all the 6 o'clock
but then
news.
it blows up from there where people are like, well, what if they, and I don't know where you all of a sudden put like, number one, how do you even fit a razor blade into a fucking Tootsie Roll? Just throwing that out there.
You don't.
Yeah.
But so that story made the news, right? Well, when the investigation was over and they were like, wait a second, he renewed the life insurance for all of his children like 2 or 3 weeks before. It was in just his kids' bags. No other children had it in their bags. When they did the investigation, it actually led back to the father committing insurance fraud by killing one of his children and trying to say that a mysterious stranger gave it to his kids. So the instance we have of children actually getting hurt
is just because somebody planned it, basically.
Yeah, they have not yet traced anything like that back to an actual person on Halloween. The rumors always persist, though.
Yeah. But at the same time, I would think that I'm glad it doesn't happen then, but at the same time, I'm thinking, like, why doesn't it happen? Not that I want it to happen. It's just like, it would be like
by now, I'm kind of surprised they haven't inspired someone to do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, I mean, I don't even know how Halloween's gonna go this year with COVID still.
It happened last year, so
yeah, I guess. I mean,
it was a Saturday night, so
yeah. I mean, I guess it's just gonna be what it is, But yeah, so kind of explain to me about the whole trunk or treat thing because since I know absolutely nothing.
So trunk or treat is basically instead of going door to door to your scary neighbors' houses and your dark, spooky neighborhoods, the kids go to a parking lot. Now, trunk or treat was started by churches, and I'm sure like back in the day especially, churches did a lot to try and change Halloween. They weren't the only ones who tried to do a lot to change Halloween, but they're known for the Hallelujah houses, this, that, and the other. Halloween's been through a lot of evolution, and churches have definitely played a role in it.
Well, yeah, obviously because of its association probably with quote-unquote witchcraft and all that.
And in the 90s especially, they were like, oh, we gotta stop this Halloween. So some churches, in an effort to make a Halloween alternative, and then others all in just an idea of we can make it safer, made it to where you would take your kids to a parking lot where they get candy out of strangers' cars. Well, I guess maybe not even strangers.
Okay, so
some places do a sign up for it, some places don't.
So basically the trunk part of the phrase comes from just out of the car.
They'll decorate their cars and stuff. Surface level is not a terrible idea, and I can see some good points. Like, if you live in the sticks, were you going to walk, like, a mile to the next neighbor?
I'm gonna be honest with the way with how lazy people are these days. I'm surprised they still walk around with their kids.
No, they don't. That's a thing too.
Oh, they just drive in their cars and just go to each. That's a waste of gas.
For some context, we're a full-size candy bar house.
Yeah.
Like, I think you already knew that.
Yeah,
We're a
yeah.
full-size candy bar house. I would be a mini bottle or Jello shot for the adults' house, but the adults don't get out of their cars and they're always driving, so I can't do that for them.
Right.
If the adults actually got out of their cars and walked with their children in my, let me stress, very walkable, very safe neighborhood,
Yeah.
yeah, I would totally
Yeah.
do that, but they don't do that. We barely actually get foot traffic because of trunk or treats have gotten really popular in the South. The first time I heard about them, I was in high school, and I lived in a pretty bad neighborhood, and I had moved from a nice little walkable neighborhood. That's where I always trick or treated as a kid.
You're right.
You kind of knew which house was going to give you what. Like,
Right.
you knew this is the house that has fruit punch,
I
which
know,
was the best.
I'm just thinking about like the last. I don't even remember walking. I mean, I know I did it, but I just don't remember walking around my neighborhood trick or treating. I think the last vivid memory I have was, you remember the Regency Mall in Augusta?
Oh, you did
Yeah,
mall trick or treating.
Yeah, they did. I remember only one year they had a. They did. You know, they I only went there one year. I'm pretty sure they had a bunch of years where they did that. But just one year, I dressed up as, I don't know, probably the Black Power Ranger or something back in the day, of course, and just walked around to each store. They were giving out candy and stuff. My dad or my mom took me there. That's like the only memory. I do know I did trick or treating for a couple of years when I was younger. I just don't have the
Yeah,
memories.
if you were 8, it's been...
Yeah, it's
you
been
know,
too long. I just have a vivid
you're
memory of
young.
going to the Regency Mall. Probably because the Regency Mall is closed and dead, and it's just wasting away.
So, my dad's neighborhood was bad.
Right.
And that's, where I lived in high school. So it wasn't a real shock when there wasn't much going on for Halloween because, not even to exaggerate, this is literally a neighborhood where it's a miracle if someone doesn't answer the door with their junk hanging out. It's a miracle if they don't give your kid a needle. Like, just a hypodermic needle, not a needle shoved in their Tootsie Roll.
Yeah.
But literally, like, they don't go, hey, kid, this is candy, and it's a syringe. Like, when parents talk about people hiding drugs in their kids' candy, that wouldn't happen there. They wouldn't hide the drugs. They would just think that your kid would like that.
Yeah.
Or just overall a bad experience. Like, you knock on their door and they're going to scream because they forgot it was Halloween and they left their porch light on. So it's not a neighborhood you would trick-or-treat in. I fully understand parents opting for, like, trunk-or-treat activities in those neighborhoods.
Well, it makes sense because it's just like, I mean, yeah, it takes the, I mean, it's always been about going door to door, but to be safe, I mean, like, dressing up your car is like a little Halloween thing and having kids walk around a parking lot. It sounds like a good idea, but obviously something happened.
Yeah, no, I have. So I'm not going to say that it's not a bad idea. Like, I think it's still, ultimately, it's a good idea. It comes from a good place, and it can be a good alternative for a lot of different areas if you're rural, if you're a bad neighborhood, that kind of thing. But a lot of the trunk or treats don't take place during the night. Either they take place during, like, broad daylight.
Oh, that's just boring.
A lot of trunk or treats outright go, hey, we don't want super scary, gory decorations. Because, most Halloween blood decoration is, like, bright red. It's not even crimson red. As a child,
that's kind of the whole reason to
traumatized
do it in night.
Yeah, to make it spooky.
Yeah, to make it and dampen the blood around there and everything.
To make it spooky.
Yeah.
So a lot of trunk or treats will straight up be like, oh no, guys, no. I don't want it to be too scary. What about the young children? I was like 4. I was like super into spooky Halloween time.
Well, a lot of kids were, but
My cousin's favorite thing was Chucky when he was 4.
Oh yeah, wasn't Chucky like all R-rated movies? And
Yeah.
stuff? And I remember
We
watching
have
them.
cool families.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of with me watching an R-rated film. Pretty much, I obviously knew the difference between the movie and real life, and I was also scared of my dad if I did anything from the movie. So there's that.
Oh, God.
But okay, so what exactly made this? Well, I guess further into what just made this into a fiasco and made it,
So my gripe is this. In my area, it's a very walkable, safe neighborhood. Now, Kevin, you've lived here in this house. You've lived here for 2-3 years now.
3
Maybe
years,
4?
but I've lived in the area
been
for
a
10.
while.
Yeah, but I've lived in the area for 10 years.
How much foot traffic do you see on Halloween anymore?
None. I would say in our neighborhood, when I was living with my parents, very minimal.
Which that was a good neighborhood too.
Yeah, like this neighborhood's good too, outside of a few punks and all that. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, here they try to be a little more active because obviously a part of our Facebook group for the neighborhood, they try to do a little, if always asking if there's going to be a Halloween thing, and people do come out on Halloween here and walk around, but there are some that drive the cars, but for the most part they're actually kids that they walk the cul-de-sac, then they get in the car and go to another
neighborhood.
Yeah, another part of the neighborhood. So, but I mean, for the most part, it's not that much. It's not like a big old crowd.
Back in the day, we would go to our normal neighborhood, but we also went to like this kind of cul-de-sac-y, what we considered like rich neighborhood. It was really hilly, so you had to walk a lot.
Yeah.
But like you could not get in or out. There were so many kids there. You don't see packs like that anymore.
Right.
Part of the reason you're not seeing that is trunk or treat.
Right.
Which again, I understand if it's an alternative for a bad neighborhood, or if it's something you want to do before Halloween or even on Halloween early. Like my town's fire department used to do a little Halloween thing. I remember going to that. I was little, but I remember going there, and the pizza restaurant there used to do something. So that was all cool, right? Like,
yeah,
and then you'd go trick or treat. You would still go out and associate with your neighbors. My mom would like go with this because I was little.
Yeah.
She would like smoke a cigarette with the neighbor as we got candy.
Yeah.
That was like a whole like neighborhood bonding experience. It's interesting to me how we have, like you said, these social media groups. We've got Nextdoor app, we've got all this stuff. We've got a literal map to where every sex offender lives. But people are more scared now to let their kids loose in their neighborhood than they've ever been.
And so basically you're just basically saying it's kind of trunk or treat's kind of ruining the spirit of Halloween.
I think it is, and you can't even say that trunk or treat is incident free. I found at least an article or two where there have been incidents of trunk or treat.
Well, I would imagine
you get kids out of the house, they do find ways to get hurt, injured, whatever. One of the things that is true about Halloween is there are more traffic accidents with children. So,
well, yeah, because that's the increase of people using their cars to drive around.
They're on the road, and then the kids are walking more. So, like, what would be a great way to decrease traffic accidents of children? And this is somebody, I saw a take online about this too. Police spend most of Halloween checking on sex offenders. We have maps to the sex offenders. We know where the sex offenders live.
Right.
We will report the sex offenders if they start giving out candy. Everybody's really vigilant about that.
Right.
Why are we wasting the cops' time with that when the cops could be directing traffic and actually preventing children from getting hit by cars? I'm not one of these let's sanitize everything, think of the children people, but you're telling me one night out of the year we can't make sure things are safe enough for kids to, like, go and explore? Like, I trick-or-treated off and on a lot through childhood, even into teenage years, and you would just explore your neighborhood at night.
Right.
You would, like, meet your neighbors. Like, when my parents stopped going with me, you would still meet people. You get to know your neighbors. To me, I'm like, we have all of these measures in place.
So it basically,
but y'all are really worried about your neighbors now.
So it just boils down to like the whole community aspect of it is dwindling and stuff. It's becoming more of it's becoming too, I don't want to say too safe, but kind of like it's becoming it's like it's ruining the whole point of Halloween, how it used to be.
I think it really does. Because,
okay.
You can still have a Halloween party and stuff. There's other things you can do. But I also found it weird that in 2020, when we had a global pandemic, you would think that there would have been a stop to stationary events where you have big gatherings of people in one place.
Well, the problem is that people are going to be stupid and ignore it anyway, because we were still full force into it last year around Halloween, and people still trick or treated.
So you're willing to risk the very real possibility of your child getting COVID, being seriously ill, having like long-lasting side effects, all this other stuff. You're willing to risk that, which is a very real, very documented thing, to go take your child trunk-or-treating, where everyone is all together and the risk is greater, but you don't take your child trick-or-treating because you heard a story about a razor blade in an apple.
Number one, who gives a fucking apple out on Halloween?
I had one person when I was a kid that actually did,
God.
And our friend's mom made us throw them out.
Well, number one, I don't blame her.
They were like, you can fit a needle in there. I'm like, it's an apple though, it'll bruise.
I mean,
cut the apple.
I mean, I wouldn't just accept the apple. I mean, I would probably toss it regardless. I'm like, I'm not here for an apple, man.
I liked getting the weird treats too, though. Like, I would get like a bucket of candy, and that was exciting. But like, the one neighbor did fruit punch. God, can you imagine if a neighbor did fruit punch right now, how all the parents would freak out?
Yeah.
It could just literally come from a bottle and you could pour it in front of them and they would still be like, I bet they poisoned the fruit punch. Because we have this obsession that everyone is out to get us, everyone is out to get our kids. And it's usually, oh no, the stranger danger, even though we know, we have documentation, we have proof that the stranger danger usually isn't the problem, it's the creepy uncle, creepy boyfriend danger.
Right.
It's the people that you know and the people that you trust that tend to be the danger.
I guess I can see where you're coming from that, but I really think that's just I'm probably on your side for it, but at the same time, kind of like it. You know, times are changing in a sense, but but at the same time, I do feel like that's one tradition that doesn't really have to be a change. There's nothing wrong with going around and walking around and
I feel like we're just slowly kind of killing the whole point of having these suburbs. Like, why have a suburb if that's walkable and nice if you're not gonna walkable nice it?
well, we haven't been walkable nice with our. I'm gonna be honest with you. I even stay enclosed most of the time. And the funny thing is like we don't. I mean, I do whenever I go out. I talk to my neighbors for a little bit. I had a 30-minute conversation with my.
I mean, I don't always wear clothes in my own house if that's what you're talking about.
No. Well, it's basically just saying like and this all has to do with the rise of social media.
It does.
Because the thing about it is like we don't. Because it used to be a lot of the times like when I was growing up that you go outside and you talk to your neighbor for a little bit, just have a nice little small conversation with your next door neighbor. I mean, you don't do that anymore nowadays simply because of social media. Because I can easily email my message my neighbor for something. Like I messaged my neighbor a couple months ago about, hey, I got a printer that they didn't even bother, putting in a other box. It was straight up said HP printer on there, and I said, can you please move that to my backyard? And so nobody tries to get an idea and steal it, because I was working night shift that day, so it wasn't until morning that I would get there.
It's just interesting how we have like these vehicles, which in theory should make you closer to your neighbors because you talk to them more. Like we have 3 or 4 neighborhood groups.
Right.
But I also was reading an article, and I think this is true too. A lot of the times the neighborhood group the post is, I saw a strange car, looked suspicious.
I was going to say, it's funny you say that, because I'm like, we actually went through a phase of that, like, probably like last year or a year or two ago, and everybody's just saying like, oh, I've never seen this car, it's suspicious and all that. And then
maybe somebody got a new fucking car.
And it was like, yeah, that's actually just me. I was just, it wasn't a new car, but I guess, I don't know what the situation was. This neighbor just hasn't.
It might be renting a car. There's a million reasons there might be a different car.
I mean, I understand being cautious and everything, but you don't have to pinpoint. And it all came down to when we had that little shooting in the neighborhood across, behind my house.
Yeah.
We had that.
It was close enough that it made everybody hyper vigilant, even though, was the shooting even like 2 strangers, or was it 2 people that knew each other?
It was them. I think they knew or thought they knew someone, or the person they were looking for lived in that house. I don't remember the story, but basically
probably more of a proximity thing though.
Yeah, but basically the thing was, is like there's like 6 shots got fired, and apparently it hit 3 different houses. So that tells me right there it was just a young guy that didn't know how to shoot a fucking AR or whatever, and he probably first thing he did was he shot in and just went all over the place. Nobody got hurt, thankfully.
But that's all it takes to get everybody freaking out.
Yeah.
And crime is up everywhere. So.
And the funny thing is, it's just like, this tells you how much social media poisons you, right? Is that the first thing anybody did when they heard the shots was go to Facebook.
Yeah, they go to Facebook and they're like, I heard gunshots.
Did anybody hear that? And then somebody in the comments said, like, I don't know, maybe you guys should fucking call, like, 911 maybe?
Call the cops. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Why are you here first?
And I'm going to be honest with you, Sarah. I'm going to admit the truth. That's the first thing I did was go to Facebook when I heard the shots.
Yeah, because you kind of already, it's kind of like the bystander effect, though. You don't do anything because you expect that someone else has done something.
Right.
That's a thing that happens. People do it all the time. Right. Me and Sean drove past a burning house one day, and we both looked at each other because we didn't see a fire truck there. We're like, should we call someone? Yeah. And then we were about a half a mile down the road. He's like, well, we're already way past it.
Yeah, so it's
this is like a week or 2 after he told me that he didn't feel like he'd be susceptible to that. So I took the moment. I was like, see, you are also susceptible.
I think also it's the fact that it's that, and it's also the fact that you already think somebody else did. So there's no need for you to call the cops. But if everybody in the
Yeah,
as
you
that,
think somebody else has called the cops and they're better at dealing out with it than I am, so...
yeah. And like I said, I'm more than willing to admit that I was part of that problem. And it's just
A
like,
lot of people become part of that. I think the trouble is when you don't expect that that will happen to you, when you think that you'll never do something like that,
Yeah.
that's the trouble. The trouble is not being able to admit that you are susceptible to that as well.
yeah,
Because it puts you in a place where you're like, that'll never happen to me.
yeah.
Which I feel like just makes you way more likely.
Did I ever tell you about that? Like what I did? Because that was a day that I was pulling an all-nighter because I had to work night shift. And so I was just staying up all night, and I decided to take a nap. And I actually remember the time. It was like 5:47 was when I heard the gunshots, right? And then immediately afterwards, once I heard the gunshots, is when I had my futon, the one that I gave to you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was sleeping in here, actually, in our jank recording studio right now.
Hell yeah.
I was sleeping in here on the futon, just taking a nap, and I heard the gunshots. And I immediately, once I heard it, I realized that there were gunshots. So I immediately got onto the floor, and I crawled to my room to go get my gun. Right?
They were clearly in the distance, though.
Yeah,
If they were that far.
but no, just listen. I'm just thinking like. All I heard was bullet sounds. I didn't know where they were coming from. They were actually close since it was right behind.
You know what? And I'm going to cut you slack too. You haven't grown up in neighborhoods or houses near the woods, so you're not used to hearing gunshots.
Yeah, no. I mean, the thing about it is that this is more or less a peaceful neighborhood. Nothing ever happens. That was just the first time that something ever happens. Probably it was because one of their kids got into the wrong crowd, and then
Teens get into sort of dumb shit. Like,
yeah. So, but anyway, so I'm crawling to go get my gun just to be safe, right? And then, so my older cat Baron, obviously he heard the shots, and I heard him scurry off running to hide under the bed. I'm crawling, right?
The cats were even like, "This is the suburbs.
Yeah,
this
no.
isn't supposed to happen here."
Evan, my younger black cat, was crawling beside me as I was crawling. I shit you not. It's like if it wasn't
He
for
was ready to be in the trenches.
I was just like, what are you? Like, I looked at him as I was going to get my gun, and I'm like, what are you doing, man? It's like I had to laugh.
I think they call it mirroring when cats do stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's because they like you so much.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if it was like a thing where it's like, well, I'm safe with my owner, so I'm gonna just kind of copy what he's doing. But he was literally crawling beside me as I went because I crawled from this room, go into my bedroom to go get my gun, and he's just there crawling with me the whole way. And then I'm just sitting there on the floor waiting, and of course I do the dumb thing and go on Facebook first.
Now that I have my gun, let's check out Facebook.
Yeah, it's just like
AR in one hand, cell phone in the other.
it was like more like Glock in one hand. I'm like on the floor with my gun in one hand and my phone in the other, looking at Facebook. Like, did anybody hear gunshots? Like, by the time I got on Facebook, there's
Where
like,
you guys need me at? I'm ready.
But yeah.
People do. I love my neighborhood, but like I swear, when anything happens, people will get on the Facebook post and they'll be like, "We're locked and loaded over here."
Oh, God.
Like, what are y'all? What are you doing? They're
But-
like really LARPing. I'm like, guys, even if you're shooting someone in self-defense, posting on social media that you're ready to do it
Is not
will get you bombed in court.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though. It's like I learned my lesson from that. It's just like because after everything's calmed down, you think about it, and you're like, I was really an idiot. I should have called 911.
I was not prepared to deal with this
Yeah.
situation.
So I know now in the future, Kevin, to tell myself, and hopefully I do it, but I'm prone to making the same mistake again because I'm human. But to just make sure next time if I hear gunshots, just freaking call the police.
See, we come from really different worlds because
Yeah.
when I lived in a pretty good neighborhood, there were woods. There was like 7 acres of woods behind my house.
Yeah.
And then the block around my house, it was like ideal. You could go play in the woods or walk around the block. It was very nice. There was woods, so people would shoot and hunt in the woods sometimes.
Yeah.
7 acres was probably not a lot to hunt in, but it was the 90s.
They're probably either hunting or they had their own little target practice
Yeah,
thing
it was the
going.
90s. It was fine. My dad was one of them anyway. He would
Yeah.
hunt from the barn. And then when I lived in my dad's neighborhood, well, there were also woods there, but it was also a bad neighborhood, so who knows why there's gunshots? Somebody's dog is killing someone's other dog. Someone's chickens are loose. 2 crackheads are fighting. We don't ask questions. As long as it's not in my yard, at my yard, around the children, we don't ask questions we don't even call the cops anymore because the cops are tired of coming.
Yeah.
Police response time was really bad in our neighborhood. Some dude swerved trying to hit my brother with his truck and hit my dog. The dog turned out to be okay and just had like some road burn and a lost toenail that actually grew back.
Wow.
But we were going to press charges because everybody knew it was. There were multiple witnesses. And the cop told us, because I didn't see it happen, I can't do anything about it. I'm like, you can't do anything about attempted vehicular manslaughter?
But you have witnesses and stuff. You're
Yeah,
still
but
required.
that's how these neighborhoods are.
They're just that bad that the cops don't
They're
even want
so
to deal
bad
with
that
it.
the cops are done. The cops see every squabble that happens in these neighborhoods
It's actually
as drama that is not going to even go through the courts.
It's kind of funny because I'm pretty sure it's a lot better now, I guess, or I don't know how.
That neighborhood is way worse. All the families moved out. It was kind of bad when we were there, but it got way worse after everybody with kids left.
And they
Because now all that's there really is the drug addicts and stuff.
well, it
There
is
was a street or two of families, but like you also can't expect the families to stay there.
yeah. I mean, it is a valley, so eventually at some point.
Yeah, oh.
Yeah. But yeah, that whole thing was just weird, and I know now to just call the cops next time.
It's so funny now though because the neighborhood I live in, there have been like some robberies. Not robberies, I guess thefts. I wouldn't call them. To me, a robbery is if somebody confronts you with a weapon and takes from you.
Right.
I don't know if that's the actual definition. But theft is when you're not home and they take shit.
Yeah.
That's what's happened more has been theft or a bunch of people left their cars unlocked and somebody went door to door one night and just...
Yeah, that happened to us in our neighborhood.
And
so
that's happening a lot more everywhere because crime has been up since the pandemic hit.
yeah, right.
It's a rocky time. Crime does go up through that. Your neighborhood is probably not unique in that. But people on the Facebook pages and stuff, they're like, the neighborhood's really going to hell.
People,
They're so doomer about it.
Yeah. This has been no exception because everybody talks shit about every once in a while when stuff happens. Somebody's like, "Yeah, I don't want to live." Man, I can't believe I bought a house in this garbage neighborhood. Like, you've been here for 5 fucking years, dude. You can't just suddenly say, like, when I see people say that, they're the people that are just saying shit to say shit, and they're still gonna stay here.
Yeah.
Because if it was that bad, the way you're complaining about it, you would have done moved already.
And you don't know that the neighborhood you're looking at might not be worse, which likely it's the same because if you look at crime statistics, it's kind of just up everywhere. Your neighborhood's not unique in this.
I mean,
people really get freaked out though. The
thing is, just like it's not our neighborhood. I mean, even though we live in and like I was going to say actually that the police response time here is actually pretty good because
it's a good neighborhood.
Yeah, but the thing is,
my new neighborhood's like that too. It's a decent neighborhood, so if I call the cops, I know they're going to be there.
Yeah, it's just funny because all the times I've had false alarms and stuff, right? And I hate when I have a false alarm because 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 I have a Ring security system, so obviously they're like, be careful about your alarms and stuff because if it frequently goes off and it's all false alarms, then maybe the cops are less likely to make you a priority or whatever. But
it kind of does make sense, though.
Yeah, it does make sense, but it was just like, I just hate it because I had somebody, I had my stepmom came to clean one day, right? And she didn't tell me. So I had my alarm set. And then, of course, she doesn't know the code. And then my dad, of course, is calling my job and trying to, because, he works at the same job as me. But he's over there calling his crew, my crew leader and all that, like, you got to get Kevin on the phone. His alarm's fucking going off and I don't know how to turn it off. And I was just like, so he finally got me. He's like, Kevin, you need to go turn your alarm off. And I had to go from my machine, go to the front because I don't get any reception in the plant. And we're not supposed to have our phone in the floor anyway.
Yeah.
But I had to go walk all the way to the front. So that's a 5-minute walk to just go into the app and just press off.
Damn.
And then I called my stepmom and was like, why did you not say? Because I would have left the alarm off if you were going to come.
Damn.
It's just stuff like that. The cops are really understanding, though. It's not like they're going to come in and shoot my stuff. She's just coming in to clean, man, and she's dedicated to doing her job.
And
because
I feel like even if somebody is actively stealing from a house, if you're a cop, I don't think the first thing that you can do is shoot.
Yeah.
I hope that's not the first thing you can do.
Yeah, I hope not either.
Please don't just shoot someone.
I feel like despite what people say, that there are a majority of cops do have a sense of gun control.
I would say so. I would say a lot of the things we see is, so when I worked at the bank, bankers really don't tend to protect one another. If somebody screws up and they see it, they have an obligation to report.
Right.
However, once you start making friends within that industry and you've worked with them for a period of time, you are going to be biased and you are going to let them slide on things, even if it's a smaller thing. So when you're talking about police and stuff, usually it comes from the fact that, well, he's my brother-in-law and he's worked with us for 4 years and I know that he didn't mean to do it.
Yeah.
But when you do that time and time and time again, it's hard to keep integrity in that industry.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you're in an industry that deals directly with people, that's, I feel like, probably how a lot of that shit happens.
Yeah.
Is you're friends with your coworkers.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how ultimately you separate that, but I feel like the medical field has been better about separating it, so maybe take some notes. I don't know. I'm not an expert on it, but I know you need to do something.
You know what else we need to do?
An ad break?
Yeah, an ad break, exactly.
Let's do an ad break.
All right. All right. Hope you enjoyed that ad break.
Yeah.
I guess it's a good time to jump back on the Halloween thing. And
I feel like we really kind of slammed through it, but Halloween's been through a lot of changes. There was a period in American history where it was just benign prank night, like they would put soap on people's windows.
Yeah, of course with the Halloween. I mean, and I always associated the TPing someone's house with toilet paper, which nowadays I'll be like, I would be.
You just think of 2020 and you're like,
but even before the whole the toilet paper shortage of 2020 because of a dumb pandemic, because of a dumb reason, excuse me, it's just like even people using toilet paper to prank somebody's house and throw it on their trees. I'm less mad about the fact that my trees got, that my house got TP'd, and more mad at the fact that they just wasted perfectly good toilet paper.
Wasted all that.
Yeah.
Okay, imagine at one point we were so poor that like we had like $30 to feed the family for 5 days, but we were also out of toilet paper. And I was in college, and I was like, if they've left any of those toilet paper containers not like clip locked today, I'm taking one of those jumbo rolls.
I was just about to say that you go to a restaurant and you find a place that has an unlocked thing and you take it.
I spent like a couple of days because I was like, we have 2 rolls left at the house, and I was like really.
And the thing about it is,
with
like,
this thought.
I'm pretty sure you had like a purse or something. So what are they going?
Oh yeah, I had a backpack.
Yeah, so just put it in your
That was the game plan.
Yeah.
That was the game. I can't remember how, but we ended up getting more toilet paper, so I didn't have to steal toilet paper. But, like, for a couple of days, that was, like, in my head as I had to go to work and school and whatever else. I was like, if I see some toilet paper today, I'm going to steal it because we need it for the house.
So, another thing is not related, but it is related to just stealing stuff for your house. Like, you know how people like me, we save paper, plastic bags from when we go to grocery stores and all that. We use it for something else. I used to put my lunch in and all that. It's something I grew up with. My dad did the same thing. My mom did the same thing. It just reminded me of a funny story because, I told my mom, I was like, I'm running out of plastic bags. I need to when we go to Walmart, I'll just double bag it and stuff, right? And my mom is kind of, in some ways, my mom is a hardcore. Because all she did was when we got to the lane, she just single bagged it, right? And just ripped out a bunch of bags and just stuffed it in the bag.
I love that.
And then just did it.
She's like, it's Walmart. Yeah. These bags are barely usable to begin with.
And then she's just like, didn't even bat an eye. I'm pretty sure the person at the who monitors the self checkout just looked at her. Just
they don't give a shit either.
They don't care either. So I mean, she did it like took two.
There was a dumb copy paste share going around Facebook. You know those everyone clapped stories.
Yeah.
And it was like the cashier at Walmart apparently got onto them for double bagging because of the environment, and they were like, well, your generation is dirk. I don't even know the gist of the story, but I knew it was fake because I was like, look, no one fucking working at these big box stores gives a rat's ass about how many bags you take.
Yeah.
Fucking no one. No one. Even when I was pretty happy at my big box job, I wouldn't have been like, ma'am, our grocery bags are better quality than Walmart, so you can't just take those.
I feel like that's the one thing that's never going to like have a shortage of is plastic bags for whatever dumb reason. They make so many of them. It's just...
Well, I mean, places are trying to outlaw them, which is... I feel like, on the one hand, I'm like, we should do that, but on the other hand, I'm like, what will I use for my dog's poop? I'll have to, like, buy bags for it?
Yeah.
I don't want to buy bags
because
for my dog's poop.
Because the thing about it is, like, I
reuse them. I know a lot of people don't, though.
I reuse my plastic bag because I use it for my bathroom trash can, the little small,
they're like the perfect size.
Yeah, so I use it for that. Like I said, I use it for my lunch. If I have nothing else to carry my cat's poop in for whatever reason,
I let my cat play with them. She drags them around the house and screams. It's great.
So it's just like, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna keep double bagging. Or in my mom's case, whenever she comes into town, just let her just take
Walmart's
a,
bags are garbage anyway. I swear, like one Walmart bag is
it's always
thinner.
gonna have a hole in it.
It's thinner than the Dollar General bags.
Yeah.
How?
And they always have a hole in it. I don't know how. It's just like,
They're just trash.
yeah, but they still use them. I need them for something.
They come in handy.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Walmart in a minute though, but I know their bags are just trash because when I go to Target, the bags are so much thicker. Part of why I go to Target.
Oh
The
man.
bags are thicker.
Yeah. But now they want us to start using like our own.
Yeah, they're reusable.
Yeah,
They've
reusable
always
bags
given
only.
you like 5 cents for using a reusable bag. And whenever we got laid off a couple years back, I was like, okay, we're going to bring all the reusable bags because that is 5 cents for each bag that we bring in.
Well, the thing is with the reusable bags is they're not that big, and you need like a lot of people buy a lot of stuff.
Some of the Target bags were decent sized.
Okay.
They were a little bit bigger than the plastic bags.
Yeah, I just
You don't
prefer.
have jumbo ones though.
I mean, I feel like as long as we do a good job recycling, then we should keep using plastic bags. If people would actually recycle.
So I know there is a episode of Honest on Cracked. So Cracked is a YouTube channel, and I swear their only good series.
Cracked, as in the website Cracked?
Yeah, they've got a YouTube channel. So they've got one series that I actually find good. The rest I kind of find boring or garbo. But it's called If Blank Were Honest, and it's if recycling companies were honest. You should watch that because it's gonna black pill you on the whole if only everyone recycled thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I don't want to like spoil too much, but since I mentioned it on here, I probably should. A lot of plastics turns out aren't even all that recyclable, and the companies just throw out the plastic.
Yeah, probably.
But Cracked actually, they go in depth with it, and I love the host of the If Blank Were Honest series because he's just like this old ornery man, and he's the best.
If there's one thing I need to look into, so the core brand of water that I usually buy the cheapest water I can buy that actually tastes decent. But every now and then I like core brand water for some reason. But their bottles claim that the bottles are made 100% of recycled plastic. So
They may very well be.
they might be.
That doesn't mean that they can be recycled again.
Yeah, but
Plastic, I think aluminum, you can recycle multiple times. Plastic, you can only recycle it like so many times.
yeah, before it just gets time to.
And they're like, oh, this is just garbage now.
Yeah, that's probably why Walmart bags have holes in them all the time when I use them.
Basically, recycling, it's good, but the importance of recycling was pushed onto us like average Joes so that the big companies who do most of the chemical waste could keep doing it and be like, yeah, see, it's just the consumer's fault.
Yeah.
That's kind of how like emissions dropped in 2020, right?
Right.
Because we were all, we weren't staying at home in this state, but whatever. Most states were staying at home.
Oh, we stayed home for like a day or two, and then people were like,
Even with
"Fuck
all
it."
those emissions dropping, even with all the emissions dropping, no real difference was made.
Yeah.
So like pretty much the whole world shut down, and nothing net gain came out of it.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it kind of matters if you do things as an individual, but your individual actions don't matter that much. But circling back to
the hard
Halloween and
truth of the
pollution,
world. Basically, the hard truth of the world is that you're not that as important as you think you
you're
are.
not. I'm gonna write a children's book about that one day called "You're Not Special."
Oh man, you're not special, and the sun does not revolve around you.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Oh
It's
man.
gonna be called "You're Not Special." But actually, back to Halloween in the 80s, there was in Detroit. Usually, I think the night before Halloween, arson was a problem.
Well, Detroit is just a bad.
Well, they also had a lot of empty buildings in Detroit.
Yeah.
And 2 things are credited with stopping the before Halloween arson. One is demoing the abandoned buildings so that the teenagers didn't have things to burn. The other one is actually the community got together and would get on the streets and do shit for their community.
Yeah.
So, like earlier when I said, I'm not saying we should sanitize all days for Halloween, but if Detroit could stop their arson problem in the 80s, you guys can't, watch out for your neighborhood kids for one night a year? We can't improve the state of a holiday?
I think that's a valid point. It really is a valid point. Like I said it earlier, it's just like it's the whole trick or treating thing. Like the way we did it, there was nothing essentially. Like I wouldn't say it's not. It wasn't dangerous, but
It
wasn't.
was, but there was an emphasis on safety.
Yeah, but there was an emphasis on safety because people knew. Okay, well, we'll go to the houses. And neighbors, back then the neighbors looked out for each other.
And your teachers, the week before Halloween, I guarantee you, they had you do, if you were real little, Halloween safety coloring pages.
Right, exactly.
They
People
slapped
actually
that
cared.
into us.
People actually cared to the point where Halloween trick or treating was safe because people were looking out for each other.
I feel like the whole thing with trunk or treat now is that, well, this is just easier and I don't feel like doing it. Which, I don't feel like doing a lot of things. But, that's why I didn't have kids. I almost feel like you're kind of depriving your kids by keeping them in yet another completely adult-led, event. I was reading an article, I think that might even be a direct quote from the article I was reading, but I thought it was a good take. There's a website called Free Range Parenting. Mm-hmm. And that was one of their takes on it is, this is another event that is completely controlled and led by the adults that the kids really don't have that much say in. So it's like another opportunity to continue to keep them in a bubble.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, my parents they weren't super strict and they weren't super free range either, but I feel like I had opportunities to go out and make my own decisions on some things, even if it was just little stuff do I want to go to that house that's up on that big hill?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the old way the Halloween experiences was. I know a lot of times things change because people change, environment changes, and all that. I feel like we haven't reached that point with Halloween yet. I don't know if we ever will. But the problem is that people just don't. People have become one of the things is people have become a lot more scared, a lot more selfish. They don't they don't really care about the whole saying is love your neighbor and all that stuff. I'm not religious by any means, but I always
it's a good take though.
It's a good take.
Be nice to people around you.
Love your neighbor and all that, and a lot of that's gone because, like I said, I don't, and I'm guilty of it too because I barely talk to my neighbors or anything. I mean, I talk to my neighbors sometimes, but it's through fucking Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, I really don't have a lot in common with my immediate neighbors. The one to one side of us, one day I was cleaning my ferret's cage and she accused me of taking photos of her and I'm like, why would I hide usually, if I was taking photos? If you have a cell phone, I could just do it.
Yeah, it's usually those kind of neighbors that kind of spoil the experience. I remember we had neighbors back when I was living in Augusta that it was they were at the end of the cul-de-sac, their house. They lived on, it was like a downhill house or whatever. We called them Mr. and Mrs. Big Head. They were their last names were Ed or whatever, but they were just known to be very mean-spirited. Oh, they were old mean-spirited couple, so they didn't really like the children in the neighborhood that much.
It's weird to me that people like that live in neighborhoods. It's why don't you just live in the country?
Yeah, I mean, you're annoyed by practically all the kids. There were a lot of kids, me included, in that neighborhood. I go to my friend's, my friend's house, 2 houses down. We play basketball. And they had a problem with the basketball hoop being too close to their yard or whatever, or the ball going into your yard. I mean, innocent stuff like that. It's just and it's not like I can understand if you're in a neighborhood and they upkeep their grass and stuff. They didn't upkeep their grass, but they still had a problem with us. Our balls constantly going into. I mean, it's just stuff that happens. And
it just leaves me to wonder if they had a motivation that wasn't just that they hated kids.
Yeah, I think they were a little racist, honestly.
Yeah,
I feel I
kind of wonder. I'm like, do we have a test group? Yeah. Do we have a test group of white children that we can just...
Yeah, I mean, well, and the thing was, like I said, the neighborhood that I lived in was predominantly black. So a lot of the kids that I played with were black and all that. So maybe they
moved there 10 years before and they're like, all of these black children are in our neighborhood now.
I mean, it's just that's just the way it is. Just if you didn't, I mean, they probably had a reason why they couldn't move or anything like that.
That's too bad.
But the thing is just they just didn't have it's just weird that they just didn't understand it. It's just, in certain circumstances, like back in the day when it was just them playing basketball and also, I can understand if a basketball went through their fucking window or something, then yes, I would be mad, right?
It's like when Pokemon Go came out, people were complaining because kids were outside.
Yeah.
You spent a decade being mad that they won't go outside. They were outside one summer and you were mad about that.
No, they were just mad that kids were outside not doing what they usually
doing a different activity.
Yeah, they said it was basically because they're still on their phone essentially.
They're walking around the neighborhood. They found a loophole to mix 2 things that they enjoy.
Yeah.
Oh no. We had complaints on some of our neighborhood groups because a lot of the Pokestops were churches.
Yeah. Oh man,
the kids are out front by the church.
There was back when that came out. There's a church on Whiskey Road that it was at one of those big churches. It's the one right by the Tidal Max or whatever, or there's a Tidal Max next to this parking lot or whatever. But anyways, they had a Pokemon set that said Pokemon No.
Oh my god.
And I was just like,
Y'all could just use this as, like, if you're gonna be clever about it, you could try to indoctrinate the children while they're playing Pokemon. You could set up, like, a Jesus rack beside it or something. Get creative.
I thought it was cool that Pokemon Go actually did, like, had monument Pokestops, because chances are that people were...
It really made people go to a lot of these monuments.
And then probably, like, I know probably chances are they're just going to get there, do whatever it is at the Pokestop and move on. But I bet there were some people that stopped to read what the monument said.
Definitely, like,
that.
the people I knew, which we were all, like, 25 to 28 at the time. The people I knew were definitely, when they were at these things, they were like, so, I haven't even been to these monuments before, and I've lived here all my life.
Yeah.
And I think that's a cool thing. I don't really understand, like, the point of being mad about something like Pokemon Go, because...
Well, I think
ultimately, it's how you adapt to the situation.
Yeah, I think it also is a tie-in from all the controversy Pokemon had when it first came out, with, Pokemon being just equivalent to dogfighting, which, if you look at it,
Most of the controversy, like, in circles of parents that I was around,
yeah,
they didn't even care about, it's like animal fighting. They were like, it's satanic because they're monsters.
Yeah, it was. They said
the town I grew up in was perpetually stuck in the satanic panic of the 1980s until probably like 2005.
Wow. I just feel it's funny because it's just like, I mean, as an adult, and I do every now and then I still play Pokemon game, even though it's just like, it's essentially a children's game, but whatever. Anyways,
it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's just funny because it's just like, I do make jokes about it, comparing it to dogfighting, to the point where actually there was in Pokemon Gold and Silver, you had a rival that actually was very mean to his Pokemon, or implied to be very mean. So later on, when I went back and played it again, just for this, when as an adult, I named him Michael Vick. just for humor's sake, I was like, well, he abuses his animals and stuff. I can't think of anybody more prominent. Michael Vick. Well, lettering made it hard, so I just named him M. Vick, but you got the idea.
It's bad because I know other people besides Michael Vick have done dog fighting. It's just that was such a high profile case that it's the first one that comes to mind.
He was because he was like one of the top quarterbacks, I think.
And I don't even think, some of it wasn't even that he was directly doing a lot of it.
He was hosting it.
Yeah, he was hosting it, enabling it, funding it. It's like, dude, you might as well have been doing it.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't laying hands on that many dogs, which I think there are reports that he did, it's like, you still actively participated, facilitated.
You were basically the main problem. If you're a host, you're basically the problem.
It's weird. It's like they'll defend him for that. It's weird how, like, with celebrities, if people like that.
Well, that's the whole thing about celebrity thing in general. Celebrities get away with a lot of shit that normal people.
Oh yeah, and that's a lot of normal people just kind of enable it. They're like, "But what he did wasn't that bad. You wouldn't be saying this."
I mean, then again, you have celebrities that outright kill people and then get.
The baby.
Huh?
I learned because I watched the Chappelle Netflix special.
Yeah.
And one thing I did learn, aside from some of the other things I learned, which weren't great, DaBaby killed someone in North Carolina. Like, in a Walmart, DaBaby, the rapper, DaBaby, killed someone. But people got more mad over his AIDS comments, which, yes, were horrible and egregious. But I was like, I guess it is kind of ironic that he did murder someone.
Yeah.
Like, I did not know that. I knew what he said about AIDS. I did not know that he has murdered someone.
Well, I don't
know the context of murder.
Yeah, but anyway, but there was that reminded me. Do you remember the whole Pro Jared controversy with when he got a divorce from his wife, and then she started saying all this shit about the whole thing was a fiasco. You remember that?
Vaguely.
But basically, what it was is that people were talking about, him and his wife were doing this. And they were talking about other stuff, and I was like, y'all are forgetting that apparently this dude sent a unsolicited picture of his dick to a minor. And I feel like that's the like, all this stuff is just like, I'm just saying they're talking about all this other stuff. I'm like, are we not gonna? I think I didn't look back on it because I was like, this stuff is just stupid. They're all garbage. But I think I heard that the person that accused him of sending that picture was actually of age when he got that picture. They,
Oh,
but it's not here nor there. I just think at the
it can
time,
happen.
yeah. But I think at the time of when the controversy was going on,
That's all the public knew.
yeah. But at the time the controversy was going on, they talk about more. They were more worried about the drama between him and his wife and Commander Holly. Then I'm like, y'all do. Are y'all not see? Remember? Are y'all not paying attention to the fact that apparently he allegedly sent a unsolicited picture of his dick to an underage person?
Oh man.
I just feel like that's a bigger crime right there.
I don't know if you ever heard about like the Funimation Vic Mignogna
Yes,
drama.
I did.
So Corporate Casket on YouTube put out an episode about Funimation that it actually ended up being mostly about Vic. But the comments, oh my god, the comments.
It was probably all over the place, probably.
Because I have worked at conventions for so long, felt the need to educate people on some things that happen at conventions, because the general consensus is like, well, if all these things happened, why weren't there reports? Oh, you're telling me that in 2007, a 13-year-old, 15-year-old is gonna A, be aware enough to make a report, B, actually go make the report, because chances are they begged their parents to go to this event.
You're right.
And they're afraid they're going to get in trouble. And then you think that the convention is going to hang on to the report for years and years and years. Well, most of these conventions are like hobbyist run. And a lot of states don't even have restrictions.
You're right.
It's just so wild, like the links that people will go to defend these indefensible things because they're like, well, we don't know for sure. Like, do you want like grainy cell phone video? Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Like, and also, whether he did or didn't do anything, why are you so into this? Like, why are you defending it, ready to die on this hill? Because if he did it, are you going to change your mind about him as a person?
Because the thing about it is like people who support him like that, even in the end when they'll always find a way to say, well, they'll always keep making up excuses as the process goes on.
I feel like for so many of them, it's more about like the drama with one of the other voice actors that took him to court, or he took her to court. I feel like for them, it's not even about what could have happened at these events. It's about the drama with this voice actor that they don't like.
Yeah.
And it's about this other voice actor that did bad things. It's not about anything that he actually did. It's about, well, what about these other people?
Yeah. I just feel like at the end, it's like, basically, it's just going to be like, people are always going to defend Michael. I mean, excuse me. People are always going to defend Vic Mignogna.
Mignogna.
They're going to defend him even if even I don't even know where they're at with that. If it's concluded.
I think it's going back to court again.
Yeah.
So, like, it's all alleged.
Because it's alleged, right?
For legal reasons.
It's alleged.
Everything that we're talking about are allegations.
Right. So it's alleged. People are going to say, well, she's lying, all right? Then proof comes out. They're like, well, that could have been faked. And then they say, like, well, no, it's undeniable now. It's like they set him up. They keep making excuses for him.
And a lot of where we're at now, too, is, well, yeah, even if he did it, though, look at what everyone else was doing, which I don't entirely disagree, that a bad workplace can enable that stuff.
Right.
However, in that case, I think that everybody should be still held responsible to whatever degree they were responsible for.
Yeah, kind of like the whole Blizzard bullshit.
I don't think that means that he should just get off. And I know as a company, like, you definitely don't want to be known for, like, well, he won his court case, so... And
the thing about it is people are so quick to take sides. I'm like, I'm not going to sound for or against Vic. I'm just simply saying I want to... Because when you do that...
Yeah, if you're wrong, you're going to feel some type of way.
Yeah, so basically...
Because now you're like, crap, I died on this hill.
It's like, why don't you support him? Like, I just want to wait till everything comes out
for him...
As the way it should be. Well,
like, what I'll say for him is, the thing is, I don't know Vic. I've met Vic a couple times at events. Yeah. Not for more than like 2 minutes, not for more than as an attendee. However, I do know people who work at the events. Those people are my friends. And when it comes to me trusting what friends have told me over what I think I know about a celebrity, I'm going to trust the people that I know.
I just basically comes down to the fact that, look, I never met Vic. Never. Because I never really been to convention that much. I never met Vic. I don't know him, so basically I don't know him to say to take a side. I don't know him. No, it doesn't matter because it's just like you can't. The thing about it is like people are so quick to take a side. I'm like, you guys just know him because he was Edward Elric from Fullmetal Alchemist, and Fullmetal Alchemist had a great dub, a very good dub. Oh, yeah. And you say he was one of the best.
What I don't get is people who are like they're so mad about the Vic thing. They're like that dub's not even good. I'm like, no, It's actually a really good dub.
But they attach onto that as like, well, he's a good voice actor, so of course he didn't do it. that's they're not going to say that's their reason, but that's basically.
I think it is in their mind. They're like, you don't want your hero to, if he's your hero or whatever, you don't want to associate it with him, so you're gonna like block yourself from associating it.
Yeah, it's just the way people. That's the whole thing.
It was so weird how many people just came out of the weeds to yell at at Corporate Casket's video. I'm like, you don't even watch this channel. They're like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Right, exactly.
And like in the video, Corporate Casket goes, these are allegations, stresses that these are allegations.
Yeah.
And they're like, you shouldn't be talking about this stuff like this. They're allegations. This is irresponsible.
Yeah, you can talk about it if they're allegations. You can talk about it whether or not.
Do you want me to give you the timestamps where these are allegations as mentioned more than once? Like, do we need to? Because we can do that.
That's just all part of the fan mentality thing. They just don't want, like you said, they just don't want to see the person they consider a hero to be, to be demonized or whatever. Even if he's guilty or something like that, they'll still find a way to.
I felt like I was having like a Boondocks R. Kelly moment at one point.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if you like this man so much, even if most of this is like stretches of the truth, he definitely has like a issue, it seems, with personal space, and he definitely has a maturity issue. So if you like him so much, wouldn't you want him to get help?
Yeah, and the whole R. Kelly thing is just funny because people.
Oh, but I like that he's finally convicted.
Yeah,
but I really took myself back to like 03 Boondocks, and I was like, yeah, if you want him to get help so much.
I just think it's funny that people, no matter what, are still. There's
still people defending R. Kelly.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're making an issue like, well, they're just trying to they're just trying to put a black man in jail to like as usual. I'm like, okay, this is a case where this guy has a clear problem with
that Boondocks episode is genius.
Yeah, I never seen it.
Oh my god, you got to watch it.
Okay.
Because the speech was like, yes, the government does conspire to put many black people in jail, and yes, that is bad. However, this is not one of them.
Yeah, I'm like, this dude clearly has a problem with being attracted to underage kids.
And what's really
with
fucked
underage
up,
girls.
look at who his victims are. They're black girls.
Yeah.
So you're really gonna say that it's okay to throw black girls under the bus because, oh no, we can't convict this black man?
Yeah.
Fuck the fuck off.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's just like, and I had someone at at the plant that I used to work at before I transferred that was basically saying like, look, he has a problem and he needs help, but man, this is just all. It went to the excuse of like them just trying to demon. I'm like, R. Kelly.
Like, have you watched the freaking documentary?
Yeah, like, dude, this dude is clearly guilty. I don't know if it's at the point alleged still or if it's.
Oh no, he was convicted.
Okay,
he is facing life in prison.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, yeah. So I'm like, it's clear cut. This is not a case of the white man trying to keep the black man down. This is the case of a dude literally having a fucking around with underage girls and stuff when he shouldn't be.
Black man who abused black girls for years and got away with it.
And then apparently pissing on them too and all that. So
the documentary on Netflix was really crazy because like I think at one point they had some of the jurors from the original case, the Golden Shower case, and they were like, well, we didn't initially convict him because we didn't like the witness, the way she came off, which I think she was...
So I might be mixing it up with the Casey Anthony ending of it, but I feel like one of the jurors said like, no, it was the R. Kelly one. I think one of the jurors said like, that wasn't R. Kelly in that video, but it was somebody or something like...
Oh, it was clearly R. Kelly in that video.
Like, dude, come on.
Like... It was so wild, though, because they were basically like, yeah, we just felt that the witnesses were kind of trashy. Mm-hmm. They're children! Or they're just been children.
And they're easily manipulated. I mean, the thing about it is, like,
kids
can be smart, but they can be groomed, too. And then people will...
And the fact that they were able to say, well, they come from a social class, and I don't enjoy their mannerisms as a reason to find them not culpable as witnesses, or that he's not guilty. What the hell?
Yeah.
You can't just do that. I mean, I guess you can because they did, but like, why can you just do that?
Yeah. Sarah, tell me something. What the fuck does that have to do with Halloween?
Absolutely nothing at this point.
I mean, but no, it's fun.
We can just count this as like a transition episode. We can be like, yeah, we talk about Halloween and then celebrity drama.
Yeah, this celebrity drama pretty much. Basically, let's just jump back on it real quick. Just kind of give a conclusion to the whole Halloween thing.
Circling back, trunk or treat, bad. No, I think it's fine, but I don't think it should be a substitute for trick or treat.
I don't think so either. It should be if anything, it should be an addition. Yeah, if it's an addition, if it's part of it, there's no problem. Like, there's no problem with trying to do stuff differently. Like if your situation calls for it, then yeah, do trunk or treat or whatever. I don't think it's a don't do it on the basis of like of making up bullshit reasons that we can't just do normal trick or treating.
I'll tell you this much too. I will not take my car down the hill and one street over
Yeah,
to the town hall to open up my trunk with candy when I'm giving your brat full-size candy bars. No, your kid is going to get fat from my candy, so they need to walk.
Yeah.
They need to walk more than I did as a kid. So, yeah, if your child wants these full-size candy bars, they're going to walk to my house.
I just feel like whenever I think about the trunk or treat thing, it just goes back to me thinking about a drug dealer selling drugs out of his trunk of his car.
I feel like if I was a kid and that was the option, I wouldn't even want to go.
Like, I feel like
I wouldn't even want to go.
I think me being the smart ass kid that I was sometimes would be like if my dad wanted to do that, would be like, Dad, it's kind of like, I don't want to do that. They're probably selling drugs out of their car actually or something. You know what I mean? I'm probably like, shut up.
Like, going to strangers' houses is dangerous, but going to a stranger's car. The Nextdoor app actually has a cool feature where you can put what type of candy you're giving out at your house, and it makes like a whole map of treats in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Which is so cool. And you'll have your first and last name, you'll be verified by it, so they can literally go, oh, this is the house where you get the full-size Nestle Crunch bar. That's her name.
I will say there's one thing I hate about just the whole Halloween thing in general, and it's such a petty thing. I normally leave both my front and back lights on, like, all the time.
Oh, yeah, you have to turn them off if you're not giving out candy.
And that's what
you forget, though, don't you?
Yeah, I do. And I'm just like, it pisses me off because, like, those light bulbs are good. I think they're meant to be the ones that you just keep on.
Yeah, probably LEDs.
Yeah, so and it's just a way for people to, it's just my personal way of me feeling safe that people won't try to break into my house or anything. Plus I need light plus it'd be good to have light for my Ring camera to see.
But like, when does trick-or-treating in most neighborhoods, it is done by 9.
Yeah, but the thing is just like I forget, and then it's just like now I got people knocking on my door. I'm like, oh my god, and I don't want to turn off my lights.
You don't have candy, so you have to give them something.
What am I gonna give them?
Here's some Crystal Light and some waters.
I mean, I was about to say I can give them some of my water bottles.
Some of my best memories were the houses that were unprepared, though.
Yeah.
Like, you get, like, a can of beans or something. That's great.
I want to end this real quick on a little quick thing. I remember from the prequel meme subreddit. It was around the Halloween time. They said it was basically a Kit Kat bar, but it was actually a USB drive. And the little meme picture was they think they're getting a Kit Kat bar, but they're actually getting a USB filled with the entire prequel trilogy.
Oh no!
And they had a picture. They had the little picture of the guy playing Anakin Skywalker just laughing different times, just all over the picture. It's just like it's such a stupid reason, but it's so funny.
There's a few memes like that. There's one that's like, when you think your kids are getting candy, but they're really getting the Communist Manifesto. And I'm like, this really brings me back to the Hello Witnessing phase where, like, the Christian houses would give Christian literature.
Yeah.
Sometimes without candy, sometimes with candy.
God.
They're like, look, I know you like being a scary ghost, but remember, Jesus loves you and is so important. Please take the sheet off.
I just think it's funny how like I said, again, not religious, but I just think it's funny how they try to shoehorn
every holiday.
Yeah, they just try to shoehorn. It's just like, Happy Halloween, Merry Christmas, but remember I'm surprised
that the 4th of July gets away with being so unreligious. I am actually surprised. Although I know we go heavy on the God Bless the USA for the 4th of July.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it gets away with it. Because I feel like Thanksgiving barely counts as religious, like as unreligious, because people make it very religious, especially in the South. 4th of July is like the last holiday we have where they're not like hardcore. Guys, we have to go to church too.
Yeah. All the pretty much the rest of the holidays, in this case, one is may or may not go against the church's teachings.
I spent New Year's at a church in high school.
Oh yeah, whenever
it was Episcopalian church. Was that?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
they were super nice.
Oh yeah, Look, I grew up in high school, middle and high school. We were pretty much my religion in Jamaica was a Seventh-day Adventist, and my dad supposedly said that the equivalent of that in the U.S. was the was the Episcopalian
I mean,
church.
we have a Seventh-day Adventist.
Yeah, and no,
too.
but the thing is,
It's
like,
different, though.
It is so much different. I'm like, Dad, you are a liar. No, the Episcopalian church I love so much. I love going to like St. Paul's in
Now,
Augusta. Yeah,
Was it the kind of Episcopalian church where during the service, like, there was the tongue speaking and stuff?
no.
Okay, because the one I went to, that's how it was. I was wholly not unprepared for that half of the service, which the people I went with kind of did tell me that that happened. But, like, you're not ready until you see it.
No, my favorite
And they
thing.
were so, like... I
The
don't,
funny
I
thing
don't want
about
to
it
use
is-
the word normal, but they were normal, calm, and very friendly. And then the
No,
service happened.
the thing about Episcopalians compared to other sects of Christianity, you know, of the churches, that they're very, very laid back. That's one thing I learned. I mean, and I'm talking about laid back in terms of who gets to go.
Oh, yeah, my experience before them was a Southern Baptist church.
Yeah.
And that was wholly different.
Yeah, Episcopalians are just like, man, we don't care if you're a lesbian, you're gay or whatever, man. Just come on and just.
We don't care if you're a nerdy little weeaboo child.
They didn't even care. They didn't even care how you dressed or anything. Like, I remember when we had a church event. We had a little church sleepover, and then the next day we had the church service. Right? It was just we were just watching movies and stuff.
Oh,
right?
yeah, we did a lock-in in the Baptist church. I was at.
So the next morning, you know, they said make sure you bring your church clothes and all that stuff if you know just to be safe. And they weren't too keen on the dress code. Like, I had worn a dress shirt and jeans. This one kid though had forgot, so he wore his jeans pants, right, a buttoned up shirt, and like his church. Remember, he said he's wearing his jean shorts now or something like that, and he had his long church socks on with flip flops, if I remember correctly.
Gotta respect the Lord with those socks.
I was just like, dude, man, come on. And he did. He did it like he was normal. Nobody batted an eye.
They shouldn't.
Yeah, and the funny thing was he walked right up to get the communion, got the communion, did his little thing, and came right back down, and then like the whole service. No, I mean, nobody bats an eye.
I feel like you could dissect Southern church culture for like it's so quirky.
I'll say even though if of all the, you know, I've been to several different church services of different sects and all that. Sects. SECT.
Yeah.
Okay. But I always felt more like if I were to get back into church and all that, it would be right back to Episcopalian church, no doubt.
I don't know if I would go to the same Episcopalian church because I think when it comes in terms of how we view the spiritual side of the religion, we might be a little bit different. But if I was gonna go vibe with any group, it would definitely be that group again.
Yeah, they're so chill. But you think this is a good
Halloween to church? There we go.
Yeah.
We're taking it to the Lord, just like the churches have taken Halloween to the Lord.
Oh man,
They gave us trunk or treat, and while we tried to move it to the fire stations, we still came back to church because Halloween is unholy.
God. Oh, it's just they make a big deal out of such an innocent holiday. I really think, regardless of what the origins are.
It's mixed origins, mixed religions.
Yeah,
All Saints Day, Samhain, like there's America. All of our holidays, especially in America, are kind of hodgepodges.
Yeah. But I guess I mean this is a good place to stop with that. But
Yeah.
I guess basically just to conclude,
We
like,
wore the subject out and talked about all kinds of cool stuff.
which is not bad. It's for a Halloween special. It's like
Exactly.
1/3. It's
The
1/3
scary-
Halloween.
The scary thing is we barely talk about Halloween.
We're clickbaiting again.
Yeah, we are. It's fine.
No, it's all good.
Maybe
though.
they just listened to that first half where I'm being a super reactionary and they're like, oh, it's gonna kill Halloween. I gotta go do something. You know what? If you want to save Halloween in your neighborhood and you only get like 5 kids trick-or-treating anyway, just give out full-size bars like I do because it has started a trend in the neighborhood. We've got like 2 or 3 other houses that do it now.
I mean, if you're gonna give out candy, go hardcore. Just go full force.
Look, it's almost the same price anyway. It's like $16 for a jumbo bag of fun-size candy. Or $16 for a 16-bar pack of
You
candy.
should hold like a little mini contest for like the 10th trick or treater that comes to your house. Like, you're the 10th trick or treater, and give them like the big Kit Kat bar or whatever.
It's not a terrible idea.
It would be funny because their parents are just like, oh my fucking god.
That would be hilarious. And
It
think
would
about,
be.
I wonder if those will be on sale before Halloween.
You can get them at a gas station or one of the
Because I know around Christmas I see them everywhere.
yeah, you know, gas stations, a dollar store, and all that
I think
stuff.
I'm gonna try that. That would be
That would be really
super
cool.
funny.
Yeah, just like you're do one for the 10th and then one for the 20th or something like that. And they just,
Just out of nowhere, they go back to their car. Mama, quick,
yeah, like a big ass Kit Kat bar, like the giant, oh man, or a big ass Hershey bar, whatever they have. It's funny. I never bought one of those because they're expensive.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
And like you can't reasonably eat it.
Yeah.
But the novelty is hilarious. It's like those Jumbo gummy bears. Anyway, I guess we were going to end the episode about 5 minutes ago, but we didn't because we were like, oh my god, let's talk about candy though.
Yeah, but all right, well, yeah, this is definitely a good stopping point. But yeah, it just comes down to it. It's just like Halloween's Halloween. Let people enjoy it. You know, every trunk or treat's okay if you do it right, but don't make it into a. Don't make it into.
If you have a safe neighborhood, you should still go visit your neighbors.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of excuses to just go interact with them anymore. You should go interact about it.
So those are lessons. How leave Halloween alone and interact with your neighbors.
Go interact with your neighbors.
Yeah.
Sometimes they suck, but sometimes they're cool.
Yep. Well, all right then. I guess we'll wrap it up here. Thank you as always for listening. You know where to find us. Hit us up on the Facebook page and let us know what you think. But thanks again. Hope you have a good day. Take it easy.